Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another video that we're presenting to you today. Today, we're going to talk about why you should want an attorney or a representative at your immigration interview. Now, that seems like a very biased comment, obviously, to make on my part, but I just want to explain to you why that reason is. So, over the years, we've made it a point that any case that we file and we represent, we make sure to go to the interview. And several times I've had people tell me that they were surprised actually that we were going to accompany them to the interview, which to me is just mind-boggling because it only makes sense that if you hire an attorney to process your case, your immigration case in particular, they're going to follow through to the entire interview. Now, I don't want to get into why lawyers do what they do and how they do it in different firms, but to me, that's just the right thing to do or the proper thing to do to make sure that you see a case through from filing until the end, which a lot of them end up in an interview. So it made me think about then if that's a common practice, but more importantly, explain to you why I believe that it's important to have an attorney. So think about this. An immigration interview is essentially an interrogation into your life. They want to find out more about your marriage. They want to find out more about your family, about your job, about you in particular, your criminal history, your immigration history, everything. Okay. Your credit history nowadays with the public charge, everything. So why would you not want someone to make sure that said officer or representative from the government doesn't go overboard in the questions that they ask you, or they go beyond what they should be asking you? And that's our role in the interview. Now, my practice is that I don't like to try to intervene on the interview unless clearly something's not right, something needs clarification, or the officer stepping out of bounds or essentially crossing the line. The rest of the time, I just kind of there, sort of a protector. But again, if your lawyer is not there, even by phone, at least by phone, then they can't hear whether the comments or what happens is proper. So essentially, if you have a case and you don't go represent, or you don't have someone there to make sure that the questions that are being asked or the evidence that is being requested is proper based on your case, then you're really just going into interrogation without fully knowing what your rights are, what you should be doing, what you should answer and you shouldn't. So that is the reason why I find it so adamant that a lawyer goes. And I'll give you a story just to kind of bring the point home. About a year ago, I had an interview where the officer started off right off the bat trying to convince my client in front of me that she should withdraw her application because there was a better process. Now, if I had not been there, my client would probably say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And she would have signed off her application and renounced her green card because the officer did not understand her case. I just let the officer talk. And once the officer was done with her speech, I explained to her why this was the proper process. And she agreed with me. And she withdrew then her request from my client to withdraw the application. Had I not been there, my client would have walked into this interview with a green card and come out without a green card. So that's why it's very important to make sure that you're properly represented in an interview. You never know what could happen at these. And again, I'm not trying to make you feel scared or anything like that. But again, I've seen and heard many circumstances where being properly represented at an interview could have made a huge difference in a case, whether approval or make sure that you didn't get an unnecessary denial, an unnecessary time delay. I mean, you name it. Okay. So whether you are represented or not, make sure that you try to at least analyze the option of hiring someone to represent you at your interview if you're scheduled. If you have an attorney, try to talk to your attorney and make sure that they do accompany you to these interviews. Because again, experience has told me that this makes a huge difference in most cases. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in this video. You can write us privately. Please subscribe to our channel and make sure that you can keep track of everything that we share with you guys. Other than that, we wish you an excellent afternoon and an even better night. Have a good one.